But
the place will only be bearable for an hour.
and that is the joy of my mother, Nora.
Okay.
Oh, children.
Yes, mommy.
Oh, look at you. Look at these cheeks. Fresh like apples and roses.
Mommy.
Yes.
We missed you.
I missed you too. Yes.
The big dog chased me.
But it did bite you?
Yes,
No, Amy, dogs don't bite little dolly children, okay?
I pushed Bob and Amy on a sleigh like this.
Oh, you're strong. Such a clever boy, but
Mommy,
yes?
will you come and play with us?
Of course I'll play. Oh, children. Oh, Anne, let me hold her, okay? Just go in. You look half frozen. There's some hot coffee for you on the stove.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Oh, baby,
Mommy.
you look good.
Mommy,
Did you have fun?
Yes, we went snowballing.
You went snowballing?
Yes.
I wish I was there.
Mommy, let's play.
You want us to play?
Yes,
And
Mommy.
what game shall we play?
Hide and seek.
Hide and
Hide and
seek.
seek.
I love hide and seek.
Yes.
And who will count?
Me.
Okay, Bob, Ivan, and we count for today, okay?
Yes, Mommy.
Yes, Mommy.
Hide, okay? And we count for us.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here I come. I'll see you.
No.
Excuse me, Mrs. Helmer.
You, what do you want?
A word with you.
With me? But my husband is out, Mr. Crocstar.
I know that.
And children,
Yes, Mother.
just go into one, okay? And when the stranger man is gone, we shall play another game. What do you say?
Yes, Mommy.
Mwah,
We play.
Yes, we play.
You play. You want to speak to me?
Yes.
But today is not the first of the month yet.
No. It's Christmas Eve, and it will depend on yourself what sort of a Christmas you will spend.
I don't understand. Today is absolutely
No. We won't talk about that until later on. This is something different. I presume you can give me a moment.
Yes, I can.
Well, I was in Austin restaurant and saw your husband going down the street
Yes?
with a lady.
What thing?
Well, may I be so bold as to suppose, was it a Mrs. Lang?
Yes, it was.
Just arrived in town.
Yes, today.
She's a great friend of yours, isn't she?
She is, but I don't know how it is.
Well, you see, I knew her too once upon a time.
I'm aware of that.
Harry, so you know all about it. So I can ask without beating about the bush. Is Mrs. Lyon to have an appointment at the bank?
Who are you to question me, Mr. Crosstag? You, one of my husband's subordinates. But since you ask, you shall know. Yes, Mrs. Lyon is to have an appointment at the bank, and it is I who pleaded her cause. Let me tell you that.
So I was right in what I thought then, huh?
You know, Mr. Krogstad, one may have a tiny bit of influence. Just because one is a woman, it does not follow that when one is in a subordinate position, Mr. Krogstad, he should be careful to avoid offending anyone who
has influence, right?
exactly.
Well, Mrs. Elma, I think you will be so good as to use your influence on my behalf.
What exactly do you mean?
I mean, you will be so kind as to see that I'm allowed to keep my subordinate position in the bank.
But who proposes to take your post away from you?
Well, there's no necessity in keeping up the pretense of ignorance. And I quite understand too that your friend is not so anxious to the chance of rubbing shoulders with me. And I quite understand whom I have to thank for being turned off.
But I assure you, Mr. Crooks, that I knew nothing about...
Very well. But to come back to the matter at hand, I think it's time you use your influence to prevent all that.
But I do not have any influence.
Haven't you? I thought you said so just right now.
And what makes you think that you can put such construction on it? What makes you think that I have any kind of influence over my husband?
Well, I've known your husband ever since our student days. And I don't suppose he's any more unassailable than other husbands.
If you speak slightingly about my husband, Mr. Krogstad, I shall turn you out of my house.
You are very bold, Mrs. Helmer.
Yes, I am no longer afraid of you. And as soon as the new year comes, I shall be free of the whole thing.
Listen to me, Mrs. Helmer. If necessary, I'm prepared to fight my position in the bank as if I were fighting for my own life.
So it seems.
Well, it's not about the money. Indeed, money lies with me in this matter. It's something different. I will tell you. I dare say, like everybody else, that long time ago I was guilty of an indiscretion.
Yes, I think I have had something of that kind.
Well, the matter never came into court, but every way seemed to be close to me after that. I had to do something. And believe me, Mrs. Helmer, I'm not among the worst. But now, my sons are growing up. And for their sake, I must get as much respect as I can in the town. The job at the bank was a step in the right direction, but now your husband is going to throw me downstairs into the mud again.
But I assure you, Mr. Krogstad, it is not at all in my power to help you.
That is because you haven't the will, but I have the means to compel you.
Of course you don't mean that you're going to tell my husband that I owe you money?
And suppose I were to tell you, huh?
Oh no, no! That would be perfectly infamous of you! That which has been my pride and joy all this while, coming from you in such an ugly and clumsy way? No! It would just put me in a horrible, disagreeable position!
Only disagreeable.
Well, do it then. And my husband will see for himself what a blackguard you are. But it will be worse for you will not keep the post any longer.
I mean, is it only a disagreeable sin at home you're afraid?
If my husband were to know about this, of course he'll pay you what he still owes me, and then will have nothing more to do with you.
Listen to me, Mrs. Helmer. Either you have a very bad memory, or you know very little about business. And as such, I'll be obliged to remind you of a few details.
What exactly do you mean?
Well, when your husband was ill, you came to me to borrow some money. 250 pounds, right?
But I did not have anyone else to go to.
I promised to get you that amount.
Yes, and you did so.
I promised to get you that amount on certain conditions. Well, you see, your mind was so taken up with your husband's illness, and you're so anxious to get on that journey abroad that the conditions of our bargain might have escaped you. I promised to get you that amount on the conditions of a bond that I drew up.
Yes, and which I signed.
Very well, but below your signature, there were a few lines constituting your father as surety for the money. Those lines your father should have signed.
Should? He did sign them.
Very well. I left the date blank. That is to say, your father should have himself inserted the date upon signing the bond. Do you remember that?
Yes,
I then gave you the bond to send by post to your father. Is that not so?
Yes.
And you naturally did so, since 5 or 6 days later, you brought me back the bond with your father's signature and I gave you the money.
But haven't I been paying it off regularly?
Fairly so, yes, Mrs. Helmer. But to come back to the matter at hand, that must have been a very trying moment for you, Mrs. Helmer.
Indeed it was.
Your father was very ill.
Very near his end.
And he died soon afterwards, right?
Yes.
Mrs. Helmer, Could you by any chance remember which day your father died? I mean, which day of the month?
Papa died on the 29th of September.
Ah, that is very correct. I have ascertained. And as that is so, there is a discrepancy which I cannot account for.
What discrepancy?
Well, Mrs. Elma, the discrepancy lies in the fact that your father signed this bond 3 days after his death. That is a discrepancy, isn't it?
But
Can you explain it to me, Mrs. Helm?
I don't...
You know, it is also remarkable that the words 2nd of October, as well as the year, are not written in your father's handwriting, but rather a writing which I think I know. Well, of course, it can be explained.